many businesses do you have right now? How do you balance as a student right now? So can you share, like, revenue-wise, what is that business looking this year? All right, thanks Amy for joining us today. How many businesses do you have right now that you're running?
So at the moment, a couple, but my primary business is my English tutoring business. Yeah.
How many people do you have that are running a business with you?
About, not including myself, about 6 or 7.
6 or 7? Right?
Yes. So yeah, I like manage everything and make sure everything is going well. And then I have some people that work with me and they're tutors, so they teach. And of course we have students, and I actually didn't expect the business to grow like this when I first started. Because when I first started tutoring English, like I was the only person teaching, right? And after a while, I started getting like a lot of requests from parents for me to teach their kids. And I was like, there's no way I can teach all of them myself. So I started recruiting some of my friends and some of the people around me to like teach with me. So right now, our teachers, they're from like local high schools, and they're also from our state school, so University of Washington.
So these tutors, are they mostly students right now, or including teachers as well?
Students, high schoolers and college kids.
Okay, with you, like, can you share, like, revenue-wise, what is that business looking this year?
2023, that was our first full year of business. So that year we made about 17,000 in revenue. And for this year, 2024, I'd say we're looking at between 20 to 30,000.
Oh wow, that's definitely grown a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it myself either. I was like, oh. Yeah.
Sounds like organically, right? So from all the events that you're running, the presentations, people are just coming to you because they hear about your books and hear about how great you are, and you have a tutoring business.
It is a lot of organic growth. I would say a lot of it is when I do events as an author too. That's where like a lot of students find us. Like parents are like, oh yeah, tutor our kids. So yeah.
How do you balance as a student right now? So you're a sophomore in high school.
Yes.
How do you balance business and school?
In terms of that, it's been more of a process for me to learn how to balance my schedule and all of that, because I'll give you some background info, like some context. I'm a sophomore right now, and next year I'll be a junior, so I'll be in the full IB program. Have you heard of IB? Heard horror stories from my friends, because they've taken it. They're older than me. They're like, be careful, you're gonna have a lot of schoolwork, it's gonna be very difficult. So I'm a little bit concerned for that, I will admit. But at the moment, how I usually balance things is I like to just block out my time. So I'll be like, Monday, I'm just gonna do schoolwork, like only schoolwork. Tuesday, I'll have some time to focus on like my writing, either my writing or my business, and then so on and so forth. Being an entrepreneur is more of a 24/7 thing, right? Manage our relations with our parents and like students, our customers, right? So sometimes out of nowhere, a parent will be like, oh yeah, this and this and this. Could you also like include this in your next class with the student? And I'll have to relay that to the teacher. So it's more of a 24/7 thing.
Yeah, awesome. So what would you say are your top 3 tips for people trying to write their own book?
I'd say for the first one, this is gonna feel a little bit obvious, but I'd say just get started, right? Like I feel like a lot of people, especially like readers and students and parents, that ask me about like how should I get my kids to write more, or what should I know before I start writing. They're spending a lot of time thinking about what they want to write or planning for their story, which is a great thing, but that also tends to prevent them from actually starting, right? So the biggest thing I would say is just start writing. That's like the first tip. Let's see, as for the second tip, this is a little bit tricky. You have to think a little bit because it really depends on like the specific situation. I'd say really observe and learn, because when you want to write something, right, you're putting your own creative juices into that, your own like brain power, all of that, but you also have to pause and take a moment to learn from what's around you, right? So as an author, that might mean noticing how certain like people from different backgrounds live their lives, certain like jobs, what do people do in those jobs? Because when you portray those in your own story, you have to make sure that they're pretty accurate, right? And realistic. Otherwise, it's gonna feel like it came kind of out of nowhere. It could count as either part of the second tip or like the third tip, but I like to read a lot. And I think that's really helped me, because when you're stuck in your own brain, of course, you're going to be a bit limited when it comes to creativity, but there's a lot of really amazing people out there, and there's a variety of books, right? You can read books that pertain to the genre that you want to write, such as like fantasy, horror, mystery, realism, all of that. Or you can also take it like a step further. And there's a lot of self-help books out there, such as like tips on how to write better. Like there's literally books dedicated towards that. As for me, I do read those sorts of books, but now I've started to branch out more into entrepreneurship related books. Read as often as I can because it's really nice to go through.